Hi, everyone. I wanted to share with you my deep gratitude and appreciation for all of you who continue to show up tirelessly each and every day, providing, protecting, and caring for the well-being of ourselves and our loved ones, especially to those on the front lines and to our healthcare workers. What you're doing is vital, and we're so deeply grateful for everything that you do during this extremely challenging time. Many of us are also showing up and supporting you through ways of creating spaces like this, where you may be able to come to find a moment of mindfulness, peace, and calm. For myself, I'm here to support and share mindfulness and meditation practices. During this time, it's very, very challenging to work through the emotions that are arising, especially for those of us who are on the front lines and who are healthcare workers. Oftentimes, we don't feel like we're able to be vulnerable out of fear that people may perceive that we're not able to do our job well, or that we won't be as effective as we're supposed to be. And it's moments like this where we need to remember to practice self-care, that we're all in this together, and how important it is to come together collectively to support one another. Because now we're in the midst of this pandemic. Many of the emotions that we're experiencing will be elevated. And so it's really important to know that there are ways of which we can hold this lightly and create relationships with these challenging emotions, these difficult emotions that are arising, and knowing that we're not alone, that it's okay to not be okay all the time. Many of our frontline workers and healthcare practitioners are faced with extremely difficult decisions. They need to make very difficult choices in ways of which we won't ever understand. And this is so important to remember. And to all of you who are healthcare workers, know that we support you. We know you're trying your very best with the information that you have in this particular moment. And perhaps there's an arising of guilt or uncertainty, even self-judgment of, oh my goodness, did I make the right choice? You need to know that we support you with what you're doing. There may even be frustration where you feel like you can't support, serve, or even save a life because you don't have the proper equipment. Know that we understand that the level of skill is not in question, that we know that there are limitations to what you can work with, and to give your own self a break, and why it's so important to practice self-care, love, and kindness to yourself. Because we also need to remember that when we're going through this, often our colleagues are going through it as well. We feel like we are constantly putting our foot on the accelerator, that we are always in this alert, ready mode, that we are running on empty to the point of burnout. This is something where we need to be very, very mindful and take great care in knowing that we need to ease off the accelerator and to look at the brake, to use it, to pump the brake, to pause, and to remember sometimes we need to make a full stop. So some of the things that have come up and that I've been asked to share may be of use to you, and I'm sure many of you are already implementing many of these things, but it's always nice to have a friendly reminder, and perhaps there is someone whom may benefit from hearing them. So I'd like to share with you 7 things that may be helpful to ease the stress that you or a loved one may be experiencing. The first one is the acronym STOP. This means to stop and pause, to take a breath, to observe and to check in with yourself, and then to proceed or stay. So let's try this exercise together. It can be done seated, it could be done standing, or even lying down. So let's take a moment and stop to pause. Take a deep breath in through the nose and into the belly, filling the belly. We're going to look for 3 to 5 breaths here. And if it's comfortable for you, see if you might place one hand over the chest and your other hand over the lower belly, just below the belly button. Now, let's begin. Breathing in through the nose, filling the lower belly. And then gently and slowly exhaling either through the nose or through the mouth, if that's comfortable for you. We'll do this for a cycle of 5 breaths. So number 2, breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Exhaling. And one last time, breathing in and breathing out. Now, checking in with your body. Silently asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? Listen. Listen to the intelligence of your body. If it's signaling that you're okay, then proceed with the next best choice, decision, or option to go on with your day. If it's signaling that everything is not quite right yet, then choose to stay. Continue to breathe and check in again. You can repeat this process for as long as you need. The second thing that we may look at is creating mini breaks, or what I like to call buddy breaks. This is something that we can do throughout our day, where we can take a moment, or if we have more time, take 5, 10, 20 minutes out of our day to allow ourselves to shift our attention, to allow our mind to move away from what's happening in our workplace. This mental shift allows us a little bit of breathing room to see more clearly. And so with that, a few of the ways that we can create a mini break is simply, even when we're on rounds or we're walking down the hallway, to be mindful that we're walking, aware of each step that we're taking. Perhaps we're able to go and work out, to take an online class, yoga, qigong, lifting free weights, taking in a little cardio, or if it's safe and permittable, to go for a walk. These are things that we can also extend on what's called a buddy break, where we work with a fellow colleague to remind one another and to give ourselves permission to allow ourselves a break. We need this to recharge. And so when we have a buddy, it becomes sometimes a little bit easier and often a little bit of fun. So doing this in the safest way permittable, perhaps the two of you can go for a walk. Perhaps the two of you can safely work out together or just share a few moments of quiet. The next thing that we can do is to ensure that we're eating well, we're drinking and hydrating, and that we're getting enough rest and sleep. It's so important to eat foods that are keeping the mind clear, that are allowing the body to feel energized and vitalized, and that we are hydrating and allowing ourselves enough time for rest and sleep. I think this particular topic deserves an entire talk on its own, so we'll not go into specific detail here. The next thing that we can do, number 4, is to reach out to our loved ones and our friends, whether it's through a video chat, a text, or a phone call. It's so important to share one-on-one, face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact with our friends and our loved ones, to hear a soothing voice on the phone, to text someone to let them know that you care and you're thinking of them. If you don't have a loved one, again, we can institute the buddy program here. We can work together to share photos of our pets, of our children and loved ones, perhaps our favorite vacation destination, whatever brings joy, happiness, and a smile to your face. Although we're faced with a very challenging time right now, it's also really important to see into our future, to allow ourselves to imagine a wonderful place that we will get to, because we will move through this. This too shall pass. And it's a wonderful way to take a moment to daydream and think about that amazing vacation you're going to take, what it's going to feel like to see that loved one, or to go home and get that beautiful cuddle from your pet, whatever it might be, just to feel that sense of love and care. It's so important. The next thing that I'd like to share is a difficult one for many people, especially those in the workplace environment. And this is to reach out to your support staff who are professionals when it comes to counseling, psychologists and psychiatrists who are there to support you during this difficult time. Many of us feel like we don't want to reach out because we're afraid, once again, of feeling like we're going to be criticized or perhaps seen as not being capable of doing our job or handling the stress. This is a situation that's quite different than most. And it's really important to know that there's great strength in vulnerability, and no one is going to judge you for showing that in this moment you may not be coping as well as you normally do. And you know what, in doing this, it also allows others, especially if you're a leader, it allows your team to see that it's okay to not be okay all the time, to release the stigma that they need to know that they're supported in their humanness. If this still isn't something that's comfortable for you or you feel safe, then know that there are networks outside of your work environment that you can reach out to counselors and psychologists outside privately. Or you can come to places like this where we share safe space, where you can passively or actively listen and share and comment. Choose something that works for you. Perhaps it's as simple as choosing a trusted friend whom you can speak with and share how you're feeling. Just remember, you are not alone, and there are many, many people and services out there to support you. The last thing I want to share is to remember to celebrate. Celebrate even the smallest wins. This is vital and important, and we've seen this across the globe, what it's like for people to come together in this amazing collective shared humanity to celebrate all of the people, all of the things that people are doing, all of the providers, protectors, healthcare workers, everyone who is doing their best to help humanity. Know that even something as small as saying thank you, or writing a quick text to someone saying, hey, just thinking of you, everything okay? This might make someone's day, and in fact, it could save someone's life. So know that what you do does matter because you matter. And together, we can move through this, rising up together. And so I hope that something that I shared today is of use to you. And that if there is somebody who you feel may benefit from any of this information, please share it with them. I often say to my clients and those whom I support, take what works for you and leave the rest. And so with that, I want to say thank you so much for your kind attention. And until next time, may you be blessed.